All right. So we should be live, Wes. How are you doing, Wes?
I am good. It's a good
Excellent.
day.
Excellent. Hey, everyone, if you're joining us, this is another How I Shot It Live here in the MagMod community. As always, please let us know where you're watching from because it is always so much fun to see. And I love to try to pick out who is watching from the furthest away. In fact, if you're watching this on YouTube as a recorded version, we'd like to see that in the comments as well. Let us know. And of course, be sure to subscribe to the MagMod channel so you know when we're live. Oh, is that my dog or your dog?
My dog saying hello to the world out there.
Right on, right on. Well, Wes, I'm going to throw our little intro reel up here and then we'll get you introduced, all right? All right. So, Wes, why don't you tell us who you are, where you're based out of, a little bit about your wedding photography?
Hi everyone, my name is Wes. I am a wedding photographer based out of Chesapeake, Virginia. Beautiful state. I love what I do, and I have been a wedding photographer coming up on 5 years. And uh, one of the this is by far the best job I've ever had in my life, and really enjoy all of my amazing couples. So.
Yeah, no, it's funny because you had mentioned this is the best job. We were just chatting for about 15 minutes or so prior to going live here, and you were saying that you were in the Coast Guard for a while, right?
I was a military photojournalist, public affairs, crisis communications for about 10 years.
Which is like perfect training for wedding photography.
Oh yeah, it was. It definitely helped lay what I think the principles and core foundation to running a business and just being able to have that sense of honor, like just naturally built into everything that I do. Definitely is use everything that I've learned from that experience in my life.
That's a really good point. I mean, and I even think of just the crisis management. It's like when everything's under stress, it's like how can I, as a photographer, just relax and and capture whatever I need to capture and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's really interesting. By the way, we got Shannon said, "Hey friends." We have Kenlands watching from South Africa. He wins so far. So
Wow.
congrats, Kenland. We got Miguel. He's saying Magbot for the win. He's out there in Florida. Aniket, he's saying hey. So again, we appreciate all of you guys. Please throw your comments up and any questions as Wes is going through these images, and he has some incredible ones. Let us know if you have any questions. Wes, the cool thing is I'm excited to kind of give everyone a preview because what they're going to see is not only the image, but we actually have behind the scenes video for every single shot that we're going to talk about. So there's 5 photos and all 5 have behind the scenes video, which people love seeing that kind of stuff. So I'm excited for people to see this. It should be fun.
Yeah.
Well, before we jump into the photos, Wes, let's pull up your website over here. That's the Facebook community. Let's do this. There we go. So here's your website. You said you're from Chesapeake. Is that right?
Yes, based out of Chesapeake, Virginia.
Awesome. Actually, here's a preview because that's one of the photos we're going to talk about. So I'm excited to mention that. So everyone go check out his website. It's just wesshinn.com. And then also be sure to give Wes a follow on Instagram. He is an amazing photographer. You can see I was looking at your reels, Wes. We'll have to talk about that a little bit later as well. And I know this photo just won a Fearless Award, right?
Yes, pretty awesome. Both the couple and I were just beyond words and thankful for that image.
That's really cool. Super cool. A lot of cool stuff. And actually, Wes, since I have Instagram up, I went back and I pulled up an old MagMod Instagram. Now, this goes back 2 years. And if you guys look, you see this image right here with the shoes that I'm kind of highlighting. Well, it has 12,900 likes. Now, Wes, I can't say this is official because I haven't gone and counted all the likes on different images or looked at the likes, but I'm pretty sure this is the #1 liked image on the MagMod Instagram page. And this came from you. It was, what was it, 2 years ago? Is that right?
Yeah, I originally shot that in July of 2020.
Uh-huh. So
So yeah,
right in the heat of the pandemic, I guess, huh?
yeah, I was actually laying on the ground taking that picture. I'm like, well, I guess this is how I'm gonna get COVID. So
That's crazy. Well, it's amazing. I first off, what's cool about it, you guys, if you haven't seen this photo, Again, it goes back. It was posted in September 2020. But here is kind of the behind the scenes. So we're going to show lots of photos with behind the scenes here shortly. But check out, every single one of us is probably shot in a hotel where we have something like this. And just, it's really cool that I'm going to highlight right here on the right-hand side where the soda are on the bar. That's where you have the mag sphere with the blue gel, right? And that's kind of putting the door. And then you have this lighting up the shoes and the ring. So if I go back, you'll see the, oh, I went back to the next image. Sorry. You'll see the image. You got the blue door, and then you got the light coming over the top. Super, super cool. Good stuff. Love it. So again, hats off to you for winning the most liked image on the MagMod Instagram page. So right on. Well, Wes, I'm excited to show the stuff that we have now. Should we get right into it?
Yeah, let's hop into it.
Cool. I just want to really quickly just look. We have Esteban Gill is watching. Cecil is watching. I love seeing familiar faces. Damon, it says congratulations on that. Shannon says congrats on that Fearless Award. Well deserved. Right on. So Wes, I'm going to jump right into photo number 1. You can tell us about this one, okay?
All right. So this one I just shot a couple weeks ago, and this is I have to just mention this. I have some of the coolest, nicest couples ever, and these guys are just such sweethearts. So Carly and Jason had such a beautiful wedding day and ceremony, and then right up, we were taking pictures, and then right up, the whole plan was to go out and take sunset photos on. They have several different docks and piers. This is the Lesnar and the Venue. And of course, you can see the clouds here. And,
Super cool.
we were taking like the family portraits out back. And then I was looking at the clouds. And I'm like, oh man, that's like completely blocked like all of our sunset. But, I saw, if you look directly in the middle of the image, there's the little light rays coming through. I saw that hole there. And I was like, okay, well, I know if I put them in the right angle, I can get, just enough color contrast. So it's just not, you see the blue sky there. So it's not entirely blue sky. So I went out back, I brought my one light stand, and you'll see in the video, I think you can see it, the 42-inch mag box with the, I believe it's a 1/2 CTO in the mag box, inside the mag box. Yeah, that's the 42-inch up on the light stand there. And that way I got that nice warm lighting on them, and then the color contrast with the blue sky, and then the orange light rays popping through and into the background and everything. And that enabled me to get something like this. And just, this was actually the second wedding I used I just got the 42-inch mag box, and I would just completely fallen in love with it. I can't stop not shooting with it. So
Nice.
So yeah, this is they're lit entirely with the 42-inch mag box.
I love that. So you said 42-inch mag box, and you had a gel inside of it, a warming CTO gel.
Yeah, 1/2 CTO gel. I think it's 1/2 or one, maybe a quarter. I can't remember exactly, but one of those.
I love that. You know what I love about this behind the scenes video? I'm going to play this one more time. Is I love how this is what everyone sees, and yet when you darken it down, and and you can really show off those clouds and stuff, or at least I guess I should say this is what the camera sees. So super, super cool. Love that, man.
Yeah,
Such a great shot.
definitely had to be careful of the water too, so I didn't fall off and take a little swim.
Dude, Wes, I don't know if I shared this story before on how I shot it, but I'll share the short version of it. I actually one time was shooting on a dock over Lake Michigan, and we basically, as I'm shooting, I get the whole family, and there was a boy standing to the side. It was the boyfriend of one of the daughters, and he basically just was watching most of the time. And at the very end, my mind's thinking, hey, these two, this might be possible future wedding. I'm going to get some photos of them together. And so I said, all right, guys, we're all done with family photos. I said, but we got to get him over here. We got to get, a couple of you guys together, just a couple. And they're like, yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be nice. And so I literally put them together. I took one step back and I didn't realize I was on the edge of the dock. And as I'm falling in the water, I actually took my camera off my hand strap, like as I'm falling back, and I threw it, like I tossed it up. And it was a yacht dock. So it was like a, I don't know, 6 to 8 foot drop. It wasn't like super small, but as I'm falling in the water, I didn't know if my camera landed on the dock or not. And I come out of the water and they look at me and they're like, dude, you made it. Your camera landed on the dock. I guess it bounced a few times and like just barely made it. It was ridiculous, but
sacrifice.
yeah. But when I see stuff like this, I'm like, ooh, like I gotta be careful. That's the only time it's ever happened to me, but man, it was not fun. So actually it was fun. I got a good laugh out of it, but good stuff. Well, Wes, again, I appreciate seeing that photo, and I love the behind the scenes. And just to emphasize again, we're gonna show 5 photos, and all 5 have video behind the scenes, so it's really, really cool. Kenlyn says, "Awesome shoot." Shannon's over here laughing at me. She said, "Oh, I've fallen into a 5-foot tree well before." So I guess we've all done it. And then Ellie's watching over there from California as well. We appreciate you being here, Ellie. Right on. Should we jump into the second image, Wes?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So I'm gonna pull this one up. Tell us about this one. I love the clouds on this one too.
So the story behind this was an elopement, and a wonderful couple. So I actually, this was a 3-hour hike to the top of where we are here. This is the highest.
Hours. Wow.
Yeah. So this was the highest peak in Virginia. I think it's just a little bit short of 6,000 feet. And this is at a place called the Grayson Highlands State Park in Virginia, which is like straight out of like Lord of the Rings. It's just stunning. They have wild horses there, and just the views. I was just kind of freaking out when I got there, because we got to the top and it's just unblocked 360 view all the way around, and my mind was just exploding with ideas and everything, because it was just a perfect day. And so I carried the light stand that was actually in the last video that you saw. I carried that light stand for 3 hours, hiking up a 6,000 foot mountain, and had my backpack on and everything like that too. And honestly, I didn't really use my light right up until the end, and like we were kind of getting ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this. I didn't bring this up here for nothing. And so this was actually one of the last shots that we ended up taking. And I had them, I know it looked like they were like on the edge of a cliff, but it's maybe like 3 feet above like a little grassy spot. So,
yeah.
But I was pretty low to the ground to get them elevated and everything like that. Yeah, so I believe there's the GoPro video of them, and I had the AD200, I think, to the left of the screen, just aimed directly at them. And I think on there it was a 1/2 CTO gel with the grid and sphere as well, which is pretty much my go-to recipe for a large amount of my photos.
I'm gonna Wes. I wanted to wait so you can hear the audio, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you take a video and you say, "We're doing this for posterity" or something like that. Yeah. Here, I'll play the video right now.
Sure. Taking a little bit of video for posterity's sake here.
I love this though, how you can actually see like you said, you had them on that rock right there, and there's the low ground. I mean, so it's in other words, it's obviously they're high up, but they're not on, like you said, on the edge of a cliff. We certainly don't want to put anyone in danger. You can see the mag sphere up there. So if you get a good look at that behind the scenes, and then if I go back to the image, I love how you can see that you got nice and low, so you can really show off and kind of emphasize the fact that they're up high. Put their heads up in the clouds. Just really, really cool image. And Wes, I want to highlight something too. By the way, Kenlyn says those clouds, and he has the wow faces. Again, guys, appreciate all the comments. One of the things, Wes, I think is important to emphasize is you had mentioned you came up here, you did this hike. You shot pretty much everything natural light, right? In other words, you shot it as they're out there, and then you're like at the end, you're like, hey, we got to do something different. And then the reason I want to emphasize that is for you watching, especially if you're not used to using flash, don't think for a minute that you have to use flash on, every single photo, or, I would say when I'm on photo shoots, 90%, 95% of the time I'm not using flash. Usually it's kind of towards the end, or obviously in a wedding at the receptions I'm using a lot of flash. But I think it's important that people recognize that even, a channel like MagMod, we're not expecting you to use flash on every photograph by any means, right? So did I hear
Yeah,
that correctly? Is that correct?
yeah, and I think I love natural light, and I think a good photographer will look to pursue excellence in both and
Yeah.
all types of scenarios.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, I don't. There's a lot of intentionality into everything that I capture. So, I think any good photographer that's been a photographer for a long time can go out and take some really cool, wild, creative photos. But for me, the biggest value is whatever the couple wants and their priorities, and learning about their priorities. Because um, while that photo might be extra meaningful for them, it's not going to be the same thing for another couple. So it's
Hmm.
having the understanding that every couple's different, and understanding what they want, and then learning how to just listen to them and deliver the photos that they want. So
Yeah.
everyone's a little bit different, and I think I try to cater to that as much as I possibly can. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a good point. Hey Wes, one more thing before we move.
Taking a little bit a little GoPro camera
Okay.
here, that I try to use as much as I can. Sometimes I forget to turn it on, but most of my behind the scenes footage is it's the GoPro 10, the black, um, and it works great. And I think everyone knows currently about the whole like Instagram thing and not getting a whole lot of views. Everything's catered more towards reels. So being able to capture decent video off of like a GoPro and then turning it into a reel, um, just because I think everyone can see like the final pictures, but I think it's just really nice for people to see what it was actually like in the real world.
Yeah.
Especially using the MagMod products, because a lot of times like uh, great, I love shooting with MagMod, but people are like, that doesn't look real.
Yeah.
And then I show them what it looked like, and it's just a lot of fun to just communicate that to couples and everything like that. So
Yeah. That's a good point. I love that. It's a good tip as well, to have that handy. I got one of those GoPro 10s. I brought it to my last wedding this last weekend, and I totally forgot to shoot behind the scenes. I'm such an idiot. But I'm going to be doing more of that because I think it's important. And it's fun. It's fun to actually share. I think it's exciting as well. Someday your kids will look back at those videos and be like, "Oh yeah, there's dad working." So
exactly.
I think it's cool. Let's go on to this photo 3. Tell us about this one here.
Yeah, so this one is at a place called the Williamsburg Winery, and as you'll see, there's video for this. It's a very dark place. I went in there. I've been in here a couple times, but if anyone's ever been where there's barrels and like a winery, it's it smells interesting. It's dark, and you can feel the moisture.
Yeah, I'm
Just kind
sitting in
of
one
walk
right now.
out here.
Yeah,
Um, so you can see how like, dim, it actually was. And
yeah,
actually, if you look, you can see both my light stands as well here. Um, and so I think at the very beginning, it's kind of quick, but that light stand is the one that's lighting the couple. And then there's two more light stands back here, one to the right there. And
okay.
then as I move to the left, there's the other light stand as well.
So you did a
So there's the
three light setup.
Yeah, so this is a three light setup that and I'll mention I brought all these lights down by myself. I typically don't have an assistant, so I just hustle on the wedding day to get everything set up.
Yeah,
Um, the light stand that is lighting them, I just place it in between barrels, and um, that is I believe, again, the 1/2 CTO gel with the grid and mag sphere directly on them, maybe like 6 feet away. And then behind them, you can see the blue lights. Those blue lights are coming from, I basically crosslit. So the video shows those lights at an angle. So they're basically crosslit. So I got the blue to kind of hit the pillars and kind of bounce off the ceiling and create
Yeah.
kind of like a cool, I don't know, cinematic vibe, I guess you can call it. Um, just to give that separation in the background, because if I didn't put those there, it would just be dark.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that, but it just helps to give that separation between them, Andrew and Leah here, who are again just an amazing, sweet couple, and they braved going in here, as you can see, both wearing the white wedding dress and the white
It's suit.
suit. I was like, oh man.
Yeah. You know
um,
what's cool though, Wes? So you use blue gels behind them, right?
yes.
So now when you use the blue gels, do you have like two blue gels, or did you use one blue and one teal, or one blue and one, full
Um,
CTV, or do you remember?
these are so I want to say these are both the full CTV
Okay.
gels on
Okay,
both
got
of
it.
them. And
Because I've had that
yeah,
sometimes where I'll like reach in my bag and I'll have like one creative blue, and then I'm like, oh, I'll use a CTV or I'll use a teal. I'll use something close to it, right? Um,
right.
but I love so a couple things stand out to me. One, the complementary colors. You got the warmth and the coolness. And then I love how the way you angled that flash, how it's not just hitting the back of the pillars, but it's literally hitting the sides, to really kind of create this cool color contrast. And then the other thing that I think is really cool about this shot is the leading lines. So you got this
Mhm.
from the ceiling, the leading lines that go down into them, and even from the barrels. If you look, there's just lines everywhere, kind of leading to the couple, and those things just draw my attention in. So cool. Ellie says the symmetry. She loves the symmetry on it. So
Yeah, I'm a big symmetry fan. So that was intentional. As soon as I saw the leading lines there when I was standing there, I'm like, oh man, this is great. Perfect.
yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely. Hannah Bell says I've shot in some similar wine cellar barrel rooms. I got to learn how to read here. She says I love your take by adding the blue lights, which is so true. I think if this would have just been, just regular white flashes behind, I don't think it would have been quite as impactful. The other thing that I'm curious about, Wes, is the lamps on the pillars. Is there any trick that you would share or something you can think of when you're trying to capture to make sure you don't kill those with your shutter? Um, I don't know.
yeah, so typically when I'm doing these photos, like when it's dark,
Uh-huh.
very dark. I
Yeah.
don't even know if you can call it low light. It's just dark. Um, I shoot for the ambient um, atmosphere.
Okay.
So those lights, I didn't want to overexpose, and I wanted to keep them in the shot just
Yeah.
because you can see kind of like it just looks cool. It's nice and warm and everything like that. It
Yeah.
adds to the image. So before I even turned on my flash trigger on top of my camera, I shot this on a Canon R5, by the way, for everyone out there. But um, before I turned on my flash trigger, I just took a picture, and which I do almost all the time, just because I want to see what I'm getting with the ambient lighting before I turn on the flash.
Yeah.
That way, um, I know roughly where to put my flash, as far as the flash power. And
Yeah.
so, take a shot. It's completely dark, but I'll see the lights there, so I know I'm pretty much where I want to be to keep those lights nice and warm here. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So I love like that's almost kind of my go-to the CTO and CTB gels combination there, just because I love the cinematic vibe that those colors just bring to images, and it just brings things to life.
Yeah.
So
Love it. Super nice, man. Good stuff. Let's go on to image number 4 here. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, so the this was another one. I didn't carry my light stand for 3 hours, but this was probably a good 30 or 40-minute hike to one of the coolest waterfalls in Virginia. There's a couple really cool ones, but this is definitely probably one of the top, 3 or 5 cool waterfalls in the state here. This one's called Dark Hollow Falls, and so you'll see in a video. So it's actually like a tiered waterfall. So this is at the top of the tier because we kind of climbed up it, and
Mm-hmm.
then right behind me, again, safety huge priority. Right behind me, there was another like good 80-foot drop down to the next waterfall there. Um, so you can kind of get a glimpse of how big it actually was. And I just had them climb up the rock there,
Uh-huh.
and again, I don't. So before I ever tell couples to do anything like this, I do it first, and if I can safely do it, and there's a lot of dialogue that goes into it all, and to
Yeah.
making sure they feel comfortable and safe doing this. So I
Yeah.
can't stress that enough. But I had him get up there, and you can see in the video, I think that was playing right there. The light is off to the left,
Mm-hmm.
and again, basically the same thing. I had a half CTO gel with the grid and the sphere. Um, Let me say that's the both the grid and the sphere are the new. The I think they're what are they called? The version twos or
Yeah.
they're the
Magsphere
newest one.
2. Uh-huh.
Yeah, which are great. And actually, like, it's just nice having things just a little bit lighter and
Yeah.
stronger. Um, and That was pretty much it because I believe when I took this shot, it was in and out, like sunny, cloudy, and it actually rained at one point while we were taking these pictures too. So I knew it was going to complement with the waterfall and the green and the background.
Yeah.
So
Wes, I'm curious, when you shot this, do you have, and this might actually be a fun Instagram post, is to show one the natural light. 'Cause
mhm.
I imagine you probably shot a few natural lit photographs as well without the flash, which I'm sure are beautiful as well. But it'd be interesting just to see the impact of the difference between the natural lit shots and one with the flash. Because I think so. A couple things that stand out for me on this shot. One, I love how it's a little bit dark and moody behind them. Which is something that you can do when you dial down the exposure. But if you didn't have a flash on them, then they would be dark, right? Um,
Right.
and then I
Right.
love the placement. Again, sometimes I think we even do this subconsciously. Maybe it was intentional, maybe it wasn't. But the fact that you've just trained yourself and so well in seeing scenes. But I love how they're just placed right in between the where this waterfall is falling, kind of on either side of them. So that space that you put them in is just perfect. It's not like the water is like coming right, on their head. Or granted, they're not. I understand the waterfall is like 8 feet behind them or whatever, but the placement of where they're at in the frame, I think it's just works so well. So I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I typically, 95 to 98% of my photos are natural light. But then when I bust out the light, it completely just sets everything else apart, and they
Yeah,
get really just powerful images of the setting. I like to use the lights with the MagMod gear to create like those unique one of kind photos for
yeah,
couples that really whether it's um, excuse me, yeah, like kind of establishing the setting or
yeah,
inside like a really nice interior. That's typically when I want to amplify like a couple and where they're at. That's
yeah.
typically my intention. And there's a lot of dialogue that goes between me and the couples as well, well beforehand of the shoot. So again, it's just learning about what they are really looking for and what they want. And sometimes couples really don't care, and then the other couples are want the goofy, the fun photos, which is everyone's unique in their each in their own way, and I think that's important. So.
It's interesting though. You and I both have mentioned on this chat that most of our photos are going to be natural light, and then we're going to do some of the flash. The funny thing is, if you look at probably your website as well as my website, while it might be 95% natural light that we shoot during the photo shoot, I would say on my website at least 50% are the flash photos. And it's because those are the ones that, again, I think stand out, that are impactful. And so when you're marketing yourself, it's kind of like, I can do this. I can make that sunset look amazing, that waterfall look amazing, that kind of stuff. So it's kind of interesting how that works, right? It's like, I don't know. Those are like the
I think
images that I think stand out.
I think for me, it's giving couples the opportunity to have like a diverse set of photos when I deliver the galleries,
Yeah.
and just allowing them. Like I use when I took a family photo myself lately. I didn't send it in here, but and I used the 42-inch mag box to take our family portrait. And it's something that I think is I have it on my wall. You can't see it; it's off to my left over here. But
I was actually going
um,
to look on your Instagram page. I think I found it on your Instagram page.
yeah, yeah, it's on my Instagram. And just allowing couples. Yeah, there there it is. So my wife, 3 kids, dog, and my kids only allowed me to take 2 shots of this. So anyone that has kids know how hard it is to get a family picture. um,
I love it.
but just having the ability to control lighting, and just having the option to put that on like something really unique and special on the wall, the dresser, or something like that.
Yeah.
I always encourage couples, or myself included, it's just nice to have something unique that
Yeah.
expresses your family, your love on the wall for friends and family to come in and check out. So, yeah, I think that's just what I like to use it for.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. Hey, Wes, before we get into this last shot, is there for someone learning? Because I think a lot of times when people watch these how I shot it, it's just because, hey, I'm kind of learning Flash, and you know, first off, I'm gonna actually ask two questions. First off, is there a certain modifier or modifiers that you take with you on every shoot?
Um, Always a sphere. That's
Okay.
like, that's pretty much lives in my backpack.
Okay. The Mag Sphere.
uh, the mag sphere, the grid, um, and at least one AD 200.
Okay.
That's my go-to flash on every single shoot.
Nice.
Now, sometimes depends on where we go. Sometimes I might bring two because I'm using the mag box. And you can put two in there, and which I usually that works out great if you have two.
Mhm.
But go to the one half CTO grid, or CTO gel, the grid, and the mag sphere in my
I
backpack. Shoot.
You know, it was interesting. I was wondering if you were going to mention gels because I think in every single photo that you've shared so far, you've mentioned using a gel, whether it be a CTO or CTB or something. So I was curious if that was one of your kind of like your go tos. So a gel, a MagGrid, MagSphere. Have you got the new Pro gels yet? The new MagMod Pro
I
gels?
do.
There's
They are also in my backpack as well, and
yeah.
I I will use those. Typically, like
Hmm.
reception lighting. I always say like leveling up, because the first dance I try to get just nice lighting, very well lit.
Yeah.
But then as it gets a little bit more crazy, as people start dancing around, that's when I'll start to put on like all the crazy gels just to make
Yeah.
it look a
Yeah.
little bit more lively and everything. So yeah.
Totally. If I were to design my own wedding reception, knowing that the photographers are coming off of sunset photos or whatever, and then they typically go right from grand entrance into first stands, I'd be like, no, we're gonna do grand entrance, and then I'm gonna let the photographers set things up and like put have their light down the dance floor however they want it, and then we'll do the first dance after we've done like a prayer or toast or something. But have you ever noticed that you're like, you go grand entrance and then all of a sudden it's like first dance and you're like, oh crap, you're like trying to move your lights
Oh
around,
yeah.
making sure it's perfect. It's kind of funny.
I always make sure that there's like a good. I just need 5 minutes to my couples or in the DJ. I'm like, hey guys, 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes. That's all I'm
Okay.
asking.
Yeah, I know. Usually, sometimes it feels like I get better parent dance photos lit than I
Yeah.
do the first couple, just because it's like by then I've already dialed in my lights. But
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
I'll take actually the trick that I've learned. So there's people that walk across the dance floor. I'll take pictures of just the guests walking
yep,
across the dance floor
yep,
just to test my lighting. They have no idea what I'm doing,
yep,
but I'm actually testing out my lighting on the
yep.
guest. And that
No,
way I know I got everything dialed in and it's all good to go. So
I do that as well. Another thing that you can do on that is sometimes if the DJ, because usually they have their music, they're just queuing up. It's like the walk-in music, right? They're not like
right.
actively doing anything. Sometimes I'll bring the DJ out. I'll say, hey, can I just get a quick portrait of you, that I can send to
Yeah.
you or whatever, and I'll have them come out. They're really just testing my light for me so I can dial it in, but I'll have them stand right in the middle of the dance floor. So that's somebody that you can, or a wedding coordinator or whatever. But
Yeah.
usually the wedding coordinators with the couple lining them up and things like that.
Right.
But if you can grab the DJ, it's kind of an easy one. Um, right on. Hey, let's go to this last photograph here. I'm going to
Yeah.
pull this one up. All right. And this kind of reminds me a little bit of that one that we first talked about, which had the 13,000 likes or whatever, 12,900 likes with the rings here. So tell us about this shot here.
Yeah, so same exact concept as that one, the shoe one that we showed at the very beginning here. So um, the blue sparklies are actually there was well, let me rewind a little bit here. There was a purse off to the side when I was kind of setting everything up here, and this shot honestly took like maybe 3 minutes to do, and then I
Mm-hmm.
was off doing the next thing. And then, so I grabbed the clock, laid it flat, put the rings on the clock, and then I needed something in the background just because I just needed something there. And I saw this purse, and I was like, "Hey, whose purse is that?" And then it was Carly's, the bride's purse. And she's like, "Oh yeah, you can just move it out of the way." I'm like, "Well, actually, can I borrow that?" And so she's like, "Sure," just kind of give me, like, okay.
Yeah.
Um, and I set it up behind the rings here, and then so I have again, actually a full CTB gel with just actually I think there's two grids on the AD200 aimed at the purse, just because I didn't want it to spill over into the ring and the clock. And then on the ring and the clock, I also had a one half CTO gel with two grids and no sphere. I believe the video might prove that I might be lying, but
Here,
I'm pretty sure that's what I used here. I might have a sphere on the. Well, you can just that's the new gel set up there too that just slaps right onto the magnets there. So yeah, hopefully I
so
explained that.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So Wes, I think something I'm going to actually at the photograph, wherever that orange light's hitting, it essentially turns it to white, right? The white light. So blue and orange kind of cancel each other out. And then you have the blue light where your orange light is not gridded, not hitting. That's what's showing behind the scenes in the purse. If I'm not mistaken, right? I mean, isn't that kind of, which is very similar to what you did with that first shot that we talked about on Instagram as well.
Yeah, and just the colors kind of just the orange and blue when you adjust the white balance and the camera and everything,
Mm.
it just looks really pleasing to the eyes, when you bring it in and edit everything like that. The rings and the clock and the light with the purse lighting the purse there
Mm-hmm.
is just something that just kind of all works together. I knew just from experience, obviously with CTO and CTB colored gels, it just looks nice. So
Yeah. No, that's
yeah.
awesome. Hey, I Shannon just pointed out, and I didn't realize this, but I guess when we go to video, it does cut us out. I guess I have to
Oh,
unmute the mics, so I apologize. So just to kind of reemphasize, tell everyone one more time, just in case it was cut out when you were talking with the video. Um, Actually, you know what? I'm going to play the video, but I'm just going to intentionally make sure our mic is. It looks like it's. I don't know. It looks like it's there. But tell everyone one more time what your setup was for this, just so that it's.
yeah. Yeah, no. So like again, this like a lot of my shots, I'll put a CTO gel on the main source, the main subject, whether that's
Mhm,
the ring, shoes, couples, whatever. CTO gel with two grids on a AD 200
mhm,
flash. Um, Aimed at the ring here, so I
mhm,
could just kind of get that light beam directly onto the rings, and then onto the light you saw to the left was 8200 with a couple grids and the full CTB gel lighting the bride's purse, which is not blue. It's actually kind of a gold color,
yeah,
but with thankful to MagMod and everything like that, it turned it blue, and so I got that nice complementary color contrast there with the orange and blue,
yeah.
and these amazing, beautiful rings too. So,
That's
yeah.
awesome. And then to circle back to the very beginning, it reminds me very much of this photograph here, right? I mean, pretty much the same setup, right? Just a blue light hitting behind, the orange over the top with the mag sphere, gridded, etc. Good stuff, man. I love just seeing how people. I love seeing simple setups, if that makes sense. Where it's like, yo, I could do that with two lights. I could see myself doing that, and then it's just a matter of just memorizing or remembering to do it when I'm on the scene. I don't know if you ever seen my 17 lighting recipe video where I go through like different lighting recipes. I got to come up with one, called the Wes Shinn light or something, where it's just a blue blue overlay of blue with kind of a CTO gridded light or something over the top. So good stuff. I love it, Wes. You're amazing, dude. I'm impressed. With your photos. Like I said, it's you're really good at just capturing, making sure that light's just right on your couples, making sure the light's complementary. Just simple, good technical stuff that really makes your photos stand out. Love it.
Oh, thank you. And then, it's all to the couples discrediting me for just trusting me to allow to do what I love to do, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
Nice. Good stuff. Wes, before I let you go, I'm going to show everyone real quick one more time. Guys, go give Wes a follow. There's his amazing family. And if we scroll back up here, it's just w.shinn, w.shinn. Go check out his website. And if you know somebody getting married in Virginia, by all means, give him a holler. Or you probably travel all over the world, I imagine, right?
I do. Yes, I definitely do.
I mean, being that you had your background in the Coast Guard, you've probably seen a lot of the world, and now willing to travel to go shoot weddings everywhere. So
Oh man, yeah, for sure. There's a lot of places around the world that are just stunning and beautiful, and the world's worth capturing. That's for sure.
that's awesome. Before I let you go, can you think of one place in the world that you would encourage people to go check out that would be kind of a fun place? Um, I know, for example, you told me a little bit about this city in Alaska or something that was like on still,
Yeah,
or is there somewhere else that you just were like, oh, if I could pick one place to go?
man. So Alaska is definitely number one in the summer. The winter, and the winter season, maybe not so much, but um, summer in Alaska, there's so many places to go. It feels like a completely different planet. It does not feel like the United States or any other country.
uh,
Because of the mountains are just unique and wild. So I mean, if anyone gets a chance, go check out any of the national parks in Alaska. If you time it right in the winter months, you can check out some wild colors at night with the borealis
yeah,
as well. So you know that's one thing that's like for weddings bucket list is like having a couple go to Alaska and having pictures taken at night with the borealis, that would be amazing.
That would be awesome. You would have to capture it kind of like the Milky Way galaxy, right? Don't you have to slow your shutter down, open it up
Yeah,
wide up? I've never been up there, never been able to see it or capture it, but I would imagine I've heard that with the naked eye you can see it, but when you see it super bright colors and stuff in photographs, it's typically not so much like that. It's almost more like, like the galaxy. You might be able to see it on a dark sky, but you really have to, pull it out with the camera magic. So
sure. Yeah. It's just wild in person. Yeah,
that's
like I
cool.
said, it just feels like a different planet.
That's awesome. Good stuff, Wes. Hey, it's such a pleasure talking with you, and we appreciate you being such an inspiration to other photographers. I know you're an inspiration to me, and like I said, I need to now create a new lighting recipe around the Wes Shinn light. So
Okay.
um, good, super good stuff. I appreciate everyone tuning in, watching here live in the MagMod community, as well as all of you who are watching this on YouTube. Again, please feel free to leave comments below in the thread. When we do these videos, typically we like to just kind of review the comments, occasionally every few days or whatever, and see if there's something we can answer. So, and then of course, Wes, I imagine if somebody has a question about something, they could probably reach out to you via Instagram or your website, right?
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook. I
Cool.
could talk for hours about camera stuff, lighting stuff. So anyone
Awesome.
out there.
Well, we appreciate that. And lastly, Wes, I just want to say thank you as well for your service in the military. What a cool job to be able to be a photographer and crisis management, things like that. But thank you for putting in that time. I really appreciate it. So
Oh, thank you, and thank you for this opportunity. It's humbling. There's so many amazing, talented photographers out there. So it's just humbling to have such an opportunity like this.
awesome. We appreciate it. Well, thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Be sure to catch these. We try to do these on a weekly basis. And of course, as always, if you have somebody that you think would be an amazing guest on How I Shot It that's out there killing it with MagMod modifiers like Wes and Shannon and Ellie and Hannah and everyone else who's Sandra. I saw Sandra was on here watching as well. Let me know. I'd love to talk with them and see if we can bring them on in a future episode. So thanks, everyone. Thanks, Wes. Appreciate you. You guys all have a good day. Bye-bye.
All right.